Welcome to this week of Who's the Champ? I am Chris Helms, man, your host. I've had the pleasure, I say this every time that I get on here, I get the pleasure of interviewing my friends, in the wrestling business. We've had Zuka King, Jared Fritz, when MLW was in town, we had Court Bauer, Bishop Dyer. We also had Brock Anderson and my favorite, Arn Anderson. And we've always talked about my introduction into the wrestling business. But to believe it or not, I had to bring in my biggest rival, my biggest match. I had to bring him in. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Jaxen Salam. One of my best friends in this business. I had to bring you on. So we got a lot to talk about. First off, welcome to the show. Thanks for actually coming in today.
Man, Chris, thank you so much for having me. It is an absolute pleasure and such a cool opportunity. I've been so excited for you ever since you got this opportunity, and being able to be on it with you is something that's just amazing.
So when I got the chance, I had, me and you talked about doing this since the NXT show that came to town. We sat there and we talked about it, and I said, I had to bring you in. Time just got with us. We were able to do it this week. And we're actually going to be doing it in extended shows. So this one's all about you, brother. This one's all about you. So, Jax, why don't you tell me the history for you? What is wrestling for you?
Wrestling for me was the thing that I wasn't allowed to watch as a kid. The thing that I got in trouble for emulating. They always say, do not try this at home. Well, they never said anything about trying it in school. And got into a couple altercations where it was nothing but buddies messing around. But, they see kids fighting in a bathroom, and that's not the best look. So my mom sadly banned me from being able to watch wrestling for the longest time. And after years of convincing, I finally got her to let me watch Friday Night SmackDown back in 2010, maybe 2009.
Okay.
And was able to reconnect back with it and immediately find the guys that I just loved watching again.
You are still young in this business. And as we see, you're super down there, BCW event manager. I've talked about BCW a little bit. It was a company that me and my mentor put together. You decided to reach out to one of the guys who's no longer with us, the best stay, the rest, I'm not talking ill about anyone, but you had the opportunity to come work for us, work with us, work beside us. Tell me about your experience dealing with that. We're not going to talk about one particular wrestler that we know that was a rough start in the beginning. So let's talk about you meeting the Amazing Velvet, David Kerr.
Man, you never know you meet somebody that's going to be so important to you until so many years down the line, and that's exactly what it was like meeting the Amazing Velvet. I always wanted to be in the wrestling community, in the wrestling business, but didn't really know how to get into it, and thankfully you wear a wrestling shirt to CC's Pizza, and that makes a connection. I was able to get with the Amazing Velvet. He was able to give me a chance. And that's something that it's kind of hard to try to get or to try to ask for, like go out there into something completely foreign in a sense and try to live your dream. And he gave me the opportunity to do that. And I'll be forever thankful for it. That is, you say he's your mentor. Man, if I don't know who a mentor is, it's gotta be Velvet.
Exactly. As me and you are talking, we're actually seeing some, oh Lord, what was that splash that I just did? Me and you working out in the ring. It's no hidden fact what professional wrestling is. It's choreographed violence, pretty much. And so you asked for the opportunity to have your first match ever, and you asked me to be your first match. And as you see, we're working a few things out. You actually were put on our newscast on News 2. Let's talk about one particular thing that happened that day.
Uh-oh.
You came up to me and you asked me, hey, will you tase me? I'm like, are you going to tase me? You're like, no. I said, any time you want to be tased, I'll tase you. But we had a great thing. You know, we're looking at some of your training video right now in the Amazing Velvet's yard, and I was lucky enough to be there through your progression.
Yeah.
As we're seeing now, we're seeing it. Let's see that pounds. You know, we got
Annihilated.
You know, I had to put that pounce in there.
Hey, I mean, you got to go big or go home. We were the first match on the card. We had to give people something to talk about,
and did we ever? If we could not. I could not put the audio to this because those fans were dogging us.
Yeah.
Through everything, and it didn't matter. You know, for someone, you know, I was able to see a lot of people in this business go through their first matches. Could have been better, of course, but nothing was worse than some of the other matches, and even some of the people that I've been in the ring with and I've seen. You picked it up quicker than anyone that I pretty much have ever seen. You know, we'll get to some pictures. There's a picture of you sitting. This is at Frothy Beer Brewing Company. There's a picture of you sitting down there. I believe it was after the match or it was before, but you were collected in your thoughts during that. So after your first match, tell me what were your thoughts at the end of it?
My first initial thoughts, because what happened in the match was you went to kick me in the knee, but somebody doesn't have the best sense of aim, so he short kicked me and barely tapped my knee. So I had to act like my knee was in the most amount of pain in the world. That all I'm thinking is, don't forget it's your right knee. Don't forget it's your right knee. Because if I would have dropped that, I would have felt so just like a fool of myself. But getting to the back, the first thing that I thought of was just, I did it. I did my dream. I wrestled a professional wrestling match. I mean, you can see it right there. That's me calling you out right before our big match. I was tired of it, tired of being a referee, having the opportunities literally in front of me, and I just had to count pinfalls. I couldn't do it. I needed to step in, and I got to do it with you, which was just absolutely amazing.
Exactly. We're looking at some of the. I found some pictures from it, and we just. I don't care what anyone says. Me and you rocked the house that day.
Oh yeah.
Look at this kendo shot.
Look at that.
Look at this kendo
That's how
station.
you lay in a kendo shot, by the way. You don't just tap somebody on the back.
There's a few pictures in here that show the damage I did to you. Like, look at that right across the chest there.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many different things that went on in that match. You know, it was, you talked about me kicking you in your knee. There's no hidden fact that I wear glasses. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, being the promoter and just running through everything, that day was, I mean, just look at that. You're coming out, and I believe that's around your family right there. You're near your family.
Yep.
You know, you were in your zone. And this is the picture that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. It was my first match, my father reffed.
That's amazing.
And that will hold something special. You know, I've seen you do some refereeing. We can talk about you being dropped on your neck.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Oh my gosh.
I remember, you know, as the promoter and also being a wrestler and also, you know, doing every sort of thing. And you're now learning some of what I've actually been through. The last show that we did, you saw all the running around that I did.
Oh yeah.
And you even said, I don't know how you do it. I sleep for 2 days after that and hurt constantly. But it's that adrenaline that goes. So we're talking about the adrenaline. Me and you have had a run-in with a man by the name of Big Game James.
Woo.
Big Game James dropped me, not on my neck, but he stole me around. He, you know, when a grown man picks you up and walks you around the ring, it does something to your ego. So you were reffing for us one night, and I don't know if it was planned this way or he threw you and you just overcorrected, but all I saw was butt over tea kettle. I just saw you go through those ropes, and to me, it looked like you went straight down.
Oh yeah. So I will never forget that moment. That is probably as my favorite moment I've had wrestling. And so what happened was it was supposed to be two referees. There was two referees. I was the referee on the outside. There was another referee on the inside for this match. The referee on the inside gets taken out post-match, and they start stomping out who was our world champion at the time, Papa Stro.
Mm-hmm.
I was told, get in the ring and try to break it up. I was told nothing further. So I get in the ring and try breaking it up. You know, I'm pushing Velvet off. I'm pushing LA Tank off, who's try telling him what to do. And then trying to back off Big Game James. And I'm getting everybody, I'm like, back off, back off. And I'll never forget, I feel the biggest hand of my entire life on the back of my neck. And I go, oh my God. And he just whispers in my ear, he goes, get ready. And he throws me towards the ropes. Now, I think this is the part that I need to address. I don't think Big Game James, I think we might have lied to him a little bit about how far along in the training process I was. Because I've never gotten training of getting thrown out of the ring. But I've watched enough WWE. And I mean, there you see Big Game James right there. There's me with him. That mega human wrapped his hand around the back of my neck, throws me towards the ropes. I've said, I've seen this enough. I know how to do this. I did not know how to do this. So I basically dived through the ropes and didn't try to stop myself or anything. Thankfully, my foot caught the top rope, and I was fully vertical. Like, head was gonna hit the concrete. But there you see LA Tank. That man, intimidating. But he tried, thankfully they reached a hand out and grabbed my ankle as well, so I was able to twist a little bit. So I rolled on my shoulder, and I realized how horrible that must have looked because of the sheer amount of screams of terror that I heard. And so I'm just laying there dying, and I look over under the ring, and I see my father across the ring. He is fully ear to the ground, looking under the ring, being like, is my son alive?
Trust me, you know, me talking about my father being in there, and you talk about Big Game James being a huge man. So
Terrifying.
you learn something new in that ring, especially when a man like that grabs you. You're like, so my story is almost the same. The first time that I ever did a BCW show, instead of now it's Battleground Championship Wrestling, used to be Brewery Championship Wrestling. So Velvet's like, look, you tell him what you want to do. Here's your rundown. You tell him what. And I said, okay, at a certain point, I want you to grab me. Wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
That man goozled me, and I thought that his fingers touched. Nicest man you'll ever meet.
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
Nicest man you'll ever meet.
He gives me, like, every time I've seen him, he's given me, like, lessons. He's done nothing but, like, over-explain things to make sure I understand. He is the kindest person. But in between those ropes, I have never been more terrified of somebody in my entire life.
So let's talk a little bit more about outside of BCW. You've had some chances of wrestling with, I believe, AWS in Orangeburg.
Sure did.
And there's a picture of a gentleman that we saw a little while ago, Lazarus Black. What's Lazarus been to your career?
He has been just the best. Like, he is the antithesis of you don't judge a book by its cover. Laz has done things I can never repay him for in my career. He's given me moments that you never thought as a 19-year-old kid in the wrestling business, 18, 19-year-old kid in the wrestling business, that's something that I could experience. Whether it be learning how to do kendo stick shots properly, to him grabbing me in the back. Oh, I gotta show this one. He grabbed me in the back one time, and he's like, hey, we're about to go out there. You have two options of how this match ends. I'm either going to hit you with a double stomp or I'm going to hit you with a choke breaker, which is essentially a choke slam, but instead of landing flat, you land on your the man who's doing its knee. And folds you in half. And I was like, I don't want to get my guts stomped out, but I've never taken one. So in the middle of this show, he says, hold up, and he grabs me, takes me all the way into the ring, and he goes, hold up a minute. And he shows me how to take a choke breaker. We then go on 2 matches later, have the match. I lose by choke breaker, and I folded into myself. And as he pinned me, I heard him just go, I'm proud of you. And I'm just so thankful for him. He has been nothing but kind since day one, and just the proof that there is so many good people in this industry.
There really is. And the good people outweigh the bad people. You hear the phrase good brother put a lot. You hear the word brother a lot, and it is a family thing. And you have to put trust into someone. When we squared off, you had to put that trust in me. Sure. Even though lack of experience I had of guiding the ring, being a ring general, I had enough to get us through that. And through that match, through the whole thing, we had someone run out in the middle and it was like, well, they're saying the rap. And we get to the back and Velvet's like, why did y'all stop? Y'all had him. I was like, we still had so much
I was so
left to
mad.
go.
I remember there was like 3 things we wanted to do, and that was the first thing you said to me in the back. You were like, we forgot to do this.
And but we were so much in the moment. I don't know how you felt. To believe it or not, in this business, I've had 6 matches. I've always been behind the scenes. Of course, 2 of my matches are against Big Game James. Yeah,
I wouldn't trade that for
you.
you.
Funny story with that. I've talked about the Amazing Velvet, and I talked about his fight with cancer. It just so happens that every time we've done a show with BCW, unfortunately, it's been geared towards his cancer. So the first one we did, a Power Slam against cancer, they're like, well, Adam, but he knows how to. He's been training. He can do it. And you look at Big Game. He's got the voice. He's like, all right, we can go. So he said, what all you know? I said, I can take a back bump. He's like, is it? I go, yeah. He's like, okay. So we get in the ring, and he said, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna lock up. So scared and messed up the lockup. I got the having an amateur wrestling background. You lock up and call an elbow, but everything's to the left. So now you're switching.
Oh my gosh.
So we did it. A lot of people in the IWC really, really burned me as a trash bag wrestler. And I'm like, dude, and he's like, it's his first match. He's got 6 months in, and so we go out there and, he goes, we lock up, he puts me in a headlock. He goes, all right, take me to the rope, but I'm going to stop you in the middle. Take him to the rope. Whoa, 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 whoa. He goes, do it again. Does it again. Whoa, whoa, whoa. He goes, all right, here's what I want you to do. Take me back to the rope, swing me off, drop down, jump up, drop toe hold. I'm like, oh, okay. So I did it, jumped up. I couldn't get up quick enough when he was coming. I just stuck my foot out and tripped him. He hits the ground. I stand up. Whole place erupts. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. When you got your first pop and everything out there, you had your family out there.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, I was like, you get that first pop and you're just like, all right, let's go.
All the nerves are gone.
They're gone. I was like, let's go. Let's do this. So he goes, take me in the corner, splash. I run to the other side. And you saw with the training with you, you go to the corner and then now you think back going, why the hell did I run all the way to the corner, bounce off and come back? That makes no sense because Bryan Danielson does it. You're just like, that makes sense in your head. But then when you actually do it, you're like, what in the world's going on? I hit him with a splash twice. Then he goes, watch the boot. I run. That man's foot, because you're supposed to put your hand up and block it. I was so excited and ready. I run straight into his boot. His boot from the top of my head to the bottom of my chin. My knees locked, hit the ground.
Oh.
And you would think, okay, let's rest. He goes, all right, you need to breathe. I'm going to throw you outside. Cool. Throws me outside. You know who's waiting on the outside for me?
I think I have a feeling I know who it was.
My two best friends in this business, my mentor, the Amazing Velvet, checks on me. Perfect. And then my so-called brother, L.A. Tank, picks me up. The man who is the sweetest man in the world looks at me and goes, you okay? Oh, yeah, brother, I'm good. He goes, okay. Wham! Hits me with a forearm, and I'm just like, I can't say what I want to say. But my adrenaline was going so much, and I could tell in that match with us that the adrenaline was going. We had him. In the beginning, we didn't.
No.
We didn't, but by the time the kendo sticks came out,
Yep.
one of the biggest mistakes in the match actually turned out to look good. I believe you were trying to go for a spinning neck breaker. You were running up to do a spinning neck breaker. I turned, and it turned into a spinning stunner. And we're just like, and that's what we put on News 2 here.
Yep.
So let's go with you growing up with, and you'll learn with this show, it's a lazy Susan. I'll get back to my original point. But, so, who were your inspirations growing up? You're too young for the Attitude Era. You were pretty much the Ruthless Aggression era?
I was tail end of the Ruthless Aggression. I had one friend that that watched wrestling. So I very vaguely remember like the 2006 Raw set with like Batista. I think Papa Roach was doing the theme for Raw. But that was like my earliest memory of Raw was right around probably like 2007, 2006.
Mm-hmm. So, we're looking at some pictures. If you see in the back behind her, let's talk about this man right here. Let's talk about this hold on. Let's go back.
Yep.
Right there. Who is that young man right there? It looks like he's meeting his idol, and then all of a sudden the next picture is you.
Man.
Proudest moment right there. And John Cena, the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Sure is.
I wasn't a huge Cena fan. He retired, his last match was back in December. What impact did John Cena have on you personally?
I mean, for me, Cena is known now as being a cross promotional star now that he's in like Hollywood. He's on these ads. You recognize his voice in Toyota commercials now.
Yeah.
He's hosting SNL. Like, he's doing all these amazing things. But he was doing that all the way back then, too. People forget, at least from like my age growing up, John Cena is Fred Ficklehorn's dad. Like, that is Fred's father. I will never forget that.
I've never had anyone say that.
Come on. I had a Fred shirt growing up. I was a Fred kid. I was very annoying. But growing up, watching Cena was really cool because he really was that kind of guy where you went through phases with him. You loved John Cena. You didn't like John Cena. Where is John Cena?
Man, that's his perfect segue. We were talking about John Cena. One of the questions I ask the people that come on here is their Mount Rushmore. So, in your opinion, non-biased, and we're not just talking about WWE, ECW, the greatest in your mind, your Mount Rushmore. Let's talk about it. I mean, we got a few minutes that we could talk about. So, in your mind, what is your Mount Rushmore?
Well, I do have to give. I've been giving this some thought, and I do have to give honorable mentions to two people because it was hard to leave them off this list. But surprisingly, honorable mention for me is The Big Show. I love The Big Show. I have
love
always.
The Big Show.
He was just so cool. I loved playing with him in the video games. I loved the choke slam. I loved him even when he was goofy and wore the beanie and just all of a sudden started knocking people out with one punch, even though he's done punches his whole career.
The showster.
I love him. The showster. And then another one, it was the guy who really got me into independent wrestling at first, which was Malachi Black or Aleister Black in WWE, or as I knew him for the longest time, Tommy End.
Okay.
I mean, that was just the coolest dude I've ever seen in my entire life. Covered in tattoos, like a legitimate kickbox artist. Like, that's terrifying. That's like a UFC fighter stepped into the ring. I love that. But those are my two honorable mentions. I'll cut myself off there. But when it comes to Mount Rushmore for me, there's like the stock standard answers. Like, everyone can be like, oh, Flair, Hogan, Austin, The Rock. But like, for me, it's the people who have entertained me the most. So I'm going to throw my ECW legend out there. The one, the only Mike Awesome. I mean, that's that man. That is that man. Rest in peace. He is.
I love me some Mike Awesome.
I mean, he's the guy that if you want to get your friend into wrestling, you show them a Mike Awesome match. He transcends time. Still to this day, any of his matches still hold up. And anywhere, Japan, ECW, he's amazing. Another one that I'm going to have to give to my Mount Rushmore was the man that got me into wrestling, Jeffrey Nero Hardy. The best. He's my number one still, the best, the GOAT. Nobody is beating him. Nobody is hotter than Jeff Hardy in the world.
Okay.
I mean, the colors, the music, his TNA run. I have had Modest stuck in my head for probably 3 weeks. Everything about Jeff Hardy has just screamed. I was like, that's me. That's who I want to be. For the longest time, I had long hair for the longest, as you knew. Dyed it to try to be like Jeff. But he's definitely always going to be my number one when it comes to Mount Rushmore. But another guy is I've kind of turned to him recently as anybody asks me who's my favorite wrestler, it's Samoa Joe.
Oh,
I mean, wow.
I just watched Joe and Jushin Thunder Liger from Bound for Glory.
Oh my gosh, TNA Joe.
Yes.
Like that man, like even before the stair dive, where he probably took 15 years off his career, he didn't even move any different after that, and that would like paralyze most people. He is insane. The submissions, the promo game, like nobody's ever been more believable than Samoa Joe.
Absolutely.
He is legit, and he also he just seems like the coolest guy. I want to be friends with him. And then the last guy that I'm going to put on my Mount Rushmore is going to be the TNA icon, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
I just did a show a couple months ago when he announced absolutely the definition of total nonstop action, the one and only ace of the Bullet Club. Oh. And I'm telling you, absolutely.
Chills.
Man, Jax, we're having so much fun. I don't want you to leave. I actually got a couple more ideas that I want to throw your way. So I want you to stay and maybe we can have a little bit more fun.
Hey, I'm down for it. I got time.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week with Jaxen Salam and myself. We will see y'all next week.